Wyoming basketball on the Mountain West Network is presented by Laramie GM Auto Center. We are here in Laramie, Wyoming, and it's a big game inside the Arena Auditorium this afternoon as the Air Force Falcons coming to town to take on the 22nd ranked Wyoming Cowboys. Let's take a look at the Mountain West standings as they sit today. Boise State first place, Wyoming trailing them by 1 in the win column, Air Force near the bottom of the conference. What's going on, everybody? Glad you could join us. Jacob Toby alongside former Cowboy Steve Gosar. We'll hear from Brian Burton in a moment. Wyoming gets ranked 22nd in the country. They then go to New Mexico and lose inside the pit, one of the toughest places to play.
Well, and you throw two of the best guards in the Mountain West with Mashburn and House in there, and you're going to be in for a battle.
For more on that loss, we'll send it over to the third member of our broadcast team, Brian Burton. Brian?
Yes, New Mexico, the pit is known as one of the toughest places historically to play in college basketball. They have one of the best backcourts in the Mountain West, which goes to show the depth of this conference. Coach Linder told his team after the game, when is the last time someone stormed the court after beating Wyoming? Then this morning, before the game and shoot around, he told his team, scared money don't make no money. So come out, be aggressive, control what you can, and play Wyoming basketball.
All right, let's talk about the Air Force Falcons a little bit more. A.J. Walker, their leading scorer. He's an old man. He's a senior on this squad.
Jacob, when he has that ball in his left hand, watch out. That is when he likes to set up the defense, getting into the paint, either to the rim. He loves the floater. And just when you're trying to play him for the drive, he's going to step behind. He hit 2 big threes down the stretch against the Cowboys to make that a much closer game.
On the other side for the Pokes, it's Graham Ike, second in the conference in points per game and rebounds per game.
Maybe one of the best big men in the country. When he catches that ball, he's got such great hands. He can catch anything. He passes well out of the post when the double team comes. But if he catches it down low, just count the bucket. He's too hard to stop.
All right, we are ready to go here from Laramie inside the AA. The Air Force Falcons, the third youngest team in the nation, taking on the Pokes. How will it work out? Find out next on the Mountain West Network.
Wyoming basketball on the Mountain West Network is presented by Laramie GM Auto Center, Adidas, Cheyenne Regional Medical Center, and Pepsi.
Back here in Laramie, Wyoming, Air Force and Wyoming getting set to square off. Let's take a look at tonight's game plan, driven by Toyota. Steve Gosar, what do you got for me today?
Jacob, Air Force has got to contain Graham Ike. No easy task. One of the best big men in the country. Wyoming's got to control the paint. All right, you can play for guard for 30 seconds and try not to give up that easy basket on the back cut. And then, you can't let the New Mexico loss beat you twice. You got to shake off that loss, get back to that chip on your shoulder, and get back to those winning ways.
Here are tonight's starting lineups presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming. Some changes being made for the Falcons. Joseph Octave, the sophomore from California, he's missed the last 2 games. He's back in the starting lineup. Lucas Mormon is also back in the starting lineup for Air Force as well. And of course, we talked about A.J. Walker, very talented senior guard for the Falcons. Ethan Taylor, the younger version, perhaps, of Mr. A.J. Walker. On the other side for Wyoming, of course, Hunter Maldonado. He's been here forever. Graham Ike, a talented big man up front for the Pokes. Drake Jeffries, a star three-point shooter for Wyoming. Jeff Linder in his second season at Wyoming. Everybody's talking about Coach Linder right now. He is off to a great start. 35-15 record with the Pokes. And Linder getting some good news this week. We'll talk about that in a moment. Joe Scott on the other side for Air Force. His 6th season, 2 stints. This is his second year in his second stint. Trying to reshape this program once again. Our officials for today, Brett Moe, our head referee, Randy Heimerman, and Jimmy Cassis. The tip is up. We're underway. The Falcons control it. Glad you could join us from Laramie. You ready for this, my man?
Jacob, I love watching Air Force play. It's like going to the dentist and getting a root canal. You're going to have to just sit down and guard, and they're going to lower these possessions, but they are so good at what they do, so disciplined. And if you make one mistake, you're going to give up an easy basket.
Mormon with 6 on the shot clock. Octave, 2 on the shot clock. Walker has it. He has to fire away. He doesn't know. And a turnover right off the bat. And you can hear this place is pumped. It's packed in the AA.
We got a great crowd in here. I remember earlier in the season, we didn't have so many people in here. Right now, it's looking great. We're starting to see these fans filled in up to the rafters.
A turnover to start off Air Force's day. Maldonado back to Jeffries. Doing a good job of fronting Ike. Mormon down low. They get it to him. 7 on the shot clock. Ike making it look easy.
He just got too deep. Mormon, in the first game against the Cowboys, the post held their ground and Ike got into foul trouble. Mormon's taking that and backing up, and Ike got too deep, too easy of a basket.
Ike, 21 points per game, 53% from the field. 3rd in the conference in field goal percentage.
I tell you, as good as he is offensively, he is the key to the Cowboys defensively. He is going to be the traffic cop outside, trying to help these guards through all of this action.
Shot clock going down again. This time, a bucket goes in. Joseph Octave, the sophomore from Gardena, California, knocking in the tray ball.
I think Coach Linder can live with that shot. Honestly, if that's the shot they're going to, hit, they're going to have to hit all night long to beat the Cowboys. I think, you got to like your chances.
Maldonado seeing a soft double team, and he throws it away for the Cowboys' first turnover of the afternoon.
And that's one thing, if there's any criticism about Hunter Maldonado, is just trying to pare those turnovers down. We've got to get those down where you can get a shot out of that possession.
At New Mexico, at 9 points, was 2 for 12 from the field, 8 turnovers for Maldonado. His season high is 9. Highbreeder, a 3. Can't hit, and Maldonado snags the board.
Good defense by the Cowboys. Graham Ike is really helping on back cuts and cuts to the basket.
Maldonado active, driving to the rim. He's fouled, and he'll get to the free throw line. And so a tough day for Maldonado against New Mexico. As you see there, the contact. 2nd in the conference in assists per game, 4th in scoring, 5th in field goal percentage. He just does everything for this team. 1st in minutes played in the conference. The numbers are there.
The numbers are there. And when Graham Ike's in foul trouble, he's our best post player down low. He's getting double teamed down there. He scores in so many ways. And a lot of times on the defensive end, he's picking up the best offensive player, for the Falcons, like he's doing right now.
A.J. Walker, the leading scorer for Air Force, puts it in on beautiful move from A.J. Walker, the senior from San Antonio, Texas.
He is so efficient with that ball. I tell you, he gets it down low, goes right to his move.
There is Jake Jeffries, the 3. 1st in the Mountain West in three-point percentage, 9th in the nation.
Jacob, I really kind of think when we were talking to Coach Scott before the game, he talked about the Cowboys beating you by 2s, and could they score enough? And trying to take away the 3-pointers. That's what the Falcons cannot let Drake Jeffries or X get to finding that range and knocking down 3s.
Octave fires away. He can't hit. Kept alive by Jake Highbreeder. Air Force so far slowing the game down. That's what Joe Scott wanted to see. Taking the shot clock down every time, and there's Octave, who's been active early on in this game.
Yep. Coming back here to list this 3 by Jeffries. Falcons, you can't leave a great shooter like that all alone getting squared up to the basket. I mean, there's not a defender within 15 feet of him when he catches it.
So Joseph Octave at the free throw line, a 59% free throw shooter. And if you want to beat Wyoming today, you're going to need shots to go down, free throws to go in.
You're going to have to play nearly perfect basketball. You can't, and this is mistakes. When you miss at the foul line, this is just like a turnover right there.
Octave goes 0 for 2. Air Force has lost 6 straight games. They're looking for a big win here today in Laramie. Wyoming trying to bounce back from that New Mexico loss. Jeffries way off that time. Out of bounds, and it stays with the Pokes.
Jacob, I like how the feel of this game for the Cowboys. The referee's letting these guys play a little bit of contact going on. You know, this is a really, this got a nice pace for the Cowboys right now.
Back into Ike. Mormon guarding him. And Ike gets bumped.
So efficient, going to that left or that right shoulder with his left hand. So hard to stop.
Wyoming's so interesting because they shoot the 3 well at 35%, third in the conference, but then they have the low post game with Maldonado and Ike, and it's really one of the more balanced teams in the country Jeff Linder has going.
Well, the three-point shooting relies on those post touches, the efficiency of Ike and Maldonado down in the post. And, it just really helps, X and the three-point shooters to be able to sit out there squared and get that pass from the inside out. Such an important direction for that pass to come for high percentage shooting.
Ike goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line. A 3-point advantage for Wyoming. Ethan Taylor, wide open mid-range, can't stick it. Maldonado snagging another rebound.
For Air Force to be really good offensively and really hard to guard, the 5-man, if they can hit a 3-point shot, it makes it so much harder for Graham Ike to do his job. But watch it, when we come back down the other end, watch how much he's sitting off Mormon.
Maldonado saw the mismatch down low. Ike was there and scores over Octave.
When Mormon comes up to the top, look at Ike sitting off of him. He's going to help off that. See, the ability for him to sit back there really helps to stop that pocket pass.
Mormon looking to bang down low with Ike, and is successful. Lucas Mormon, the freshman from Colorado Springs.
Nice move. Took his time, was patient, went to his power move, and got it up over the top of Ike.
Maldonado, beautiful cut, threw it up, got it to go.
That's that passing we talked about Ike early on. He's got great hands, but he's a great passer. Cowboys switch this ball screen. This is something that that Air Force hurt the Cowboys on in the first go-around. On an empty side ball screen, the Cowboys now are switching that to try to take away that penetration.
Air Force now 1 for 4 from downtown. Maldonado sees a quick double team. Almost turned over by the Cowboys. Timeout on the floor. We will take it to Wyoming up 12-7. Maldonado to the rack. Air Force and Wyoming in their last meeting. Hunter Maldonado going the length of the court in Colorado Springs and breaking the hearts of the Falcon fans at the buzzer. Wyoming won 63-61 back in late January. What a game.
That really kicked off 6 in a row for the Cowboys before they dropped that last one in New Mexico, and it kicked off 6 in a row on the other way for Air Force. 6 losses in a row.
That was the first buzzer beater for the Pokes since David Adams hit a 16-footer to beat Dayton back in 2004. Let's go to Brian Burton on the sideline.
Yes, Coach Linder talked about before the game being able to limit Air Force from 3. So far, they're 1 of 4, and the one they made, he said that was a difficult shot. If they keep shooting and making those shots, we're in good shape.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Jacob Toby alongside Steve Gosar to sell a long-range 3. Almost put it down.
That was from Colorado. That was so far out there. I tell you, shot clock running down, had to get a shot up, but heat check for sure.
No substitutions yet for Air Force. Walker This time couldn't get the lefty floater to go.
When EK can sit off his man that much, he's going to clean up nearly every rebound on a miss.
EK down low, making it look easy.
That's something he has really improved on over the last 8-9 games. His quick spin to the baseline is nearly unguardable right now. He is so fast for a big man, spinning to that baseline for a finish.
Wyoming up 7, their largest lead in the game. And a foul will go on the floor against the Cowboys.
Cowboys got caught on a mismatch there. Moldo was down there on Mormon. And not a bad foul, to be honest with you. Here's that spin baseline. I tell you, that has become so fun to watch. His confidence as he's adding moves to his repertoire, it's making him so hard to guard.
EK fully healthy now after the torn ACL last year, just 12 games with the Pokes. Beautiful move and a score. A.J. Walker, again, the leading scorer for the Falcons.
Set it up with his left hand again. He loves that ball in his left hand. He's really looking to do something. He's got it in that left hand. You really got to dial into him.
Maldonado up high.
There's not many point guards in the country that are going to go finish 2 hands down the lane in traffic.
Giving the crowd here in Laramie a show. No look pass to Octave, and he scores. Joseph Octave, again, has missed the last 2 games due to injury. He's back, and he looks ready to go.
Wenzel just let up just a little bit, and his guy got behind him, and that's where that passes, and those easy baskets will kill you with Air Force.
Ducell, Xavier Ducell.
And we got the miss there. But I would like to see more of that out of X. X has that quick first step, and he can finish going to the rim.
Nick Jackson has come on for Air Force. This is him firing. Couldn't hit the 3.
He can hit those, but I don't think he can hit enough of those to be consistently, for Air Force to beat the Cowboys.
He's a 31% three-point shooter. Maldonado spinning and scoring. Hunter Maldonado puts the Cowboys up 7.
Back to what he does. Gosh, I tell you what, back-to-back trips down here, he has made some spectacular plays to get the Cowboys up 7.
Not afraid to just back them down, make them work for it. Hydebreeder with 12 on the shot clock, guarded by Jeffries. Trying to spin against EK. Beautiful move. Jake Hydebreeder, the freshman from Indiana.
Nice move as the shot clock's running down. Jackson's not even looking to shoot. You can see EK's 15 feet off of him when he's got the ball on the perimeter.
Maldonado backing down again. Rims out this time. His first miss of the day. He's 3 for 4 from the field. EK guarding Walker. A little zone here, perhaps. Oh, nope, there's still a man. 6 on the shot clock. Walker, tough shot.
Different from the first game. Those pull-up jumpers, they were getting clean looks. Right now, they've got a hand in their face, and it's a much different outcome as well. They're not hitting as many of them like they did in that second half down at Air Force.
Octave grabbing the jersey of EK, and a foul will go against Air Force. Hunter Maldonado going to the rim with the flush. Wyoming up 5. Jeff Linder has been making some magic as he was named to the Naismith Trophy Coach of the Year late season watch list. He's done such a great job here in Wyoming after his time at Northern Colorado. Just take a look at that graphic. How about that? The Linder magic.
Really has brought magic back to getting people in their seats out here. And I tell you, moving Hunter Maldonado to the point guard position may have been one of the biggest keys. I tell you, he has done so much, but that tweaking of your lineup, developing players has really changed their outcome this year. They've really got a much more competitive, dominant team.
Story in the Casper Star Tribune by Ryan Thorborn earlier. He talked to athletic director Tom Berman here at Wyoming. And a lot of noise right now of Jeff Linder and what his future holds if this successful run continues. And Berman said, quote, "I think big schools know about Coach Linder, and we have to do everything we can to keep him here." Linder signed a 5-year deal in March of 2020 as Maldonado hits, but the Pokes really want their prized possession head coach to stay here.
Absolutely, and I think having Coach Linder stay here helps keep the team back here too. In this day and age with the NIL, I really think that is the big key in keeping a Graham Ike, and keeping a Hunter Maldonado. And I, for one, would love to see these guys back in here all again for another round.
Beautiful move by Nick Jackson. Was that a flop warning?
That was a flop warning. That's the same call last time down at Air Force where it was a charge. I rewatched the game this morning, and that was the call that they were making on it. Today, they're letting them be a little bit more physical. I think that plays into Wyoming's favor.
And freshman Noah Reynolds with the foul there, the first personal foul against him. .12 on the shot clock for Wyoming. Ike guarded by Jackson and scores right over the top. Graham Ike.
Too big, too deep. Too big, too deep.
Let's go down to Brian Burton. Brian?
Yes, getting a little bit of a glimpse of the Air Force huddle. Coach very happy with the way they scored in the paint. 12-10 at that last media timeout. Now they have to do a good job of being able to make the threes when they're there.
10 on the shot clock. Jackson couldn't get it to roll in.
Jacob, good to see Noah Reynolds out here in this first half. Anxious to see what, putting him in a position to guard Air Force and all of their, back cuts and everything like that. But I think offensively, he adds an element for the Cowboys being able to get to the rim.
Ducell, a three, and Xavier Ducell, a 37% three-point shooter.
Great save by Noah Reynolds. He had to go upstairs to save that errant pass, and he fed it right over to X for the finish.
The first double-digit lead for the Pokes in this game, up 10.
This is where it's hard on Air Force. You get a lead on Air Force, they're not built, they're built to stay close in a game. They're not built to come back from 10.
Maldonado for three, up 13 now.
Cowboys back to playing with a chip on their shoulders. This is the team that we've seen, different than the team that lost down in New Mexico.
The Pokes are on an 8-0 run over the last minute 30. They've hit 4 of their last 4 shots. Walker left it short.
Back cut got X, but Ike being able to sit so far off that 5-man on the post, he disrupted that finish.
Maldonado gets bumped, no call. Jake Hybrid to the rebound, and the crowd didn't like that.
That was a tough one. A lot of contact on that shot.
Camden Vanderswag has come on for Air Force. Jackson, the pass to Hybrid, turns it over. The second turnover for the Falcons. The three-pointers are flying for Wyoming.
The Cowboys are starting to warm it up, and this is what Coach Scott did not want to see from the Cowboys.
Back here in Laramie, Jacob Toby alongside Steve Gosar, Brian Burton on hand as well. Air Force trailing Wyoming 28-15. Perkins Restaurant is proud to sponsor the Cowboy Basketball three-point tracker. If the Cowboys make 8 or more three-pointers in tonight's game, visit any Perkins Wyoming location tonight or tomorrow for a free slice of pie with any purchase. Perkins, flavors you crave, classics you love. Wyoming 11 of 16 from the field, 69%. They're 3 of 5 from downtown. out-rebounding Air Force 11-5. They've hit 4 of their last 5 on an 8-0 run, and up 13, their largest lead here in the first half.
3 for 5 from the three-point line. That's what Coach Scott did not want to let the Cowboys do. He said, you've got to make the Cowboys beat you by 2s, not 3s.
Maldonado. Ike battling down low with Jeffrey Mills, and an offensive foul will go against Wyoming's big man.
And I think rightly upset. Coach Linder's over there upset at that call, especially after Maldonado was going to the rim, got much more contact on a shot. That is just creating position right there, and maybe a different call affecting the play less than the foul on the shot.
Air Force hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. Where will the offense come? Octave, he's been aggressive so far, and he hits the 3. Joseph Octave, a 37% three-point shooter.
Needed that shot, but that was a deep one. I don't think you can consistently count on that type of shot to beat the Cowboys.
Air Force just a 34% three-point shooting team. Mills couldn't handle the pass from Taylor. Mentioned it, Steve. That's deep.
That's deep, and you know what? That's not necessarily where he's looking to find his shots. You know what? It's back cuts. It's something to the rim. But you know what? When you're on an 8-0 run, you got to try to stop that with a bucket somehow.
Ike passed it out of the double team. Reynolds from downtown. Got knocked down, and he's hurt. He's really hurt. And the crowd wanted a foul on that.
Well, there's a lot of contact, Jacob. No question he goes down for a reason, and this is supposed to protect the shooter when he is in a vulnerable position.
We'll try to see what happened. It was Mills guarding Reynolds. Dallas Fitchner, the trainer for Wyoming, out there right now working on Reynolds. Reynolds, a very talented freshman from Peoria, Illinois. He's got playing time in his first year here at Wyoming under Jeff Linder. He's going to head to the bench. And hopefully he's okay.
Looks like they're working on his ankle. Looks like he rolled his ankle. He was, the defender actually just backed into him as he was coming down and looked like he rolled his ankle, put him off balance. I think he'll be back in this game. Let's hope.
Octave. Mormon, a 3.
Way off. Could see that one wasn't lined up. He wasn't comfortable shooting that one. Air Force is really flying around on defense. They're doubling in the post, but boy, I tell you what, they are really covering on the perimeter.
Mormon with a big rejection on Maldonado. Ducell, tough shot. But Taylor was out of bounds on the rebound.
Cowboys got a lucky break right there.
Yeah.
I tell you, they were scrambling. Falcons had some great defense. Really had the Cowboys pushed out past the coach's box on the perimeter.
Wyoming 0 for their last 4 from the field. And a foul against Air Force on the floor.
This is that senior savvy. Hunter Maldonado just finding ways to engage the defense and collect some fouls on the defender.
That's 3 fouls on Joseph Octave. He'll stay in for now. Vanderswag on the sideline waiting to come in as the Cowboys score again.
Great cut from X and a fantastic pass from Maldonado.
Jeffrey Mills couldn't back down Maldonado. He was hounding him. 10 on the shot clock. Air Force will take their time. Taylor hasn't scored a bucket yet. Will have to fire away. And he hits. Ethan Taylor, the freshman from Houston, Texas, knocking down the 3. And they cut the deficit to 9 with 4:36 to play in the first half.
X falls down on this ball screen. You know, EK's got his hands up, but he just goes back to try to get Mormon on the roll, play a little bit of defense. He just leaves open a wide open shooter. We always talk to our players about, hey, what scores? The ball scores. You can't leave the ball. You know what? The offensive rebound, there's other people that can rebound that ball.
So a 9-point lead for Wyoming. And let's take it over to Brian with an injury update on Noah Reynolds. Brian?
Yeah, quick update. It sounds like not serious, could return. They're going to retape his ankle, but as he went to shoot, Reynolds, the defender, stepped under his foot and he landed on his on top of the defender's foot, so therefore twisted an ankle. Looks like they're going to retape him. He could be back later on this game.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Hopefully Reynolds is okay. Joe Scott on the court telling his guys to put pressure on Wyoming. Here comes the press, and no one was on Ducell.
And I think, you know, picking up the Cowboys full court, that's what they did in the second half down there at Air Force, and found some good traction by getting the Cowboys out of their offensive rhythm by burning some time in the backcourt.
Mormon, another block on Maldonado.
He is really long. I tell you, he is, you know, at least 6'10". With his length, he's playing a little bit taller.
He's exactly 6'10". Nice job.
I'll bet you Mormon shoots, 500 threes every day this summer, because if he can knock down that shot for them, he's going to be a force. He's a good-looking freshman.
It's a good point, Steve. Gets the offensive rebound here and scores. Lucas Mormon, again, the freshman from Colorado Springs. Only averages 3 points per game, but he's been active so far here today. And the lead now cut to 7. Air Force sticking around here.
I like how he competes down low. I tell you,
he's
really,
fronting Ike.
Yeah, he's working his tail off, getting around to the front on Ike and keeping that ball from getting in there. And I tell you, once he does, he still battles for position. That's going to wear you down, though. That's a big battle to try to keep battling Ike for the whole game.
Ducell, no. Ike's offensive rebound attempt, no. Air Force within 7 with 3:22 to go in the first half. Air Force sticking around with 22nd ranked Wyoming here in the Arena Auditorium. Brown and Gold Outlet is the official apparel partner of the University of Wyoming Athletics. Shop in store or online at brownandgold.com. Jacob Toby, Steve Gosar, Brian Burton bringing you this game. Coming up at the half, Meet the Pokes' toughest fan. A great story there. We'll also have first half highlights and stats. We'll bring you keys to the second half. What have you liked from Air Force so far in this game, Steve?
I think they're scoring the ball. They're finding ways to score it, albeit there's some tougher shots than what they were getting down there at Colorado Springs. But they're staying competitive. I think the really big part that Air Force is doing right now is on the defensive side. They are flying around and just making it really hard for the Cowboys to get an open three-point look again.
Brian Burton in the Air Force huddle. What do you got for me, man?
Yeah, Coach Scott really pleased with the way his team's been able to hang around. This Wyoming team, obviously one of the best teams in the country. Air Force has struggled in their last handful of games just staying around. He's proud of his team for competing. He just kept saying in the huddle, keep fighting, keep competing, keep hanging around.
Yeah, Scott said to us before the game, we're going to slow the game down, hope for 11 or fewer turnovers, hit some shots, and we'll be okay. He'll be happy with that.
AJ Walker just pulled a Maldonado and just got X for another foul just by reaching it up, throwing his hands up. It's a crafty veteran play, though, and that's how, that's that senior savvy. It comes with your better players.
Taylor going at Maldonado, no. Second time, couldn't get it to go. He keeps it alive again.
There were 3 Cowboys there, and he still came down with that rebound, and Ike was one of them.
Walker short on the 3, and it goes out of bounds. Walker just 2 for 7 from the field now with 4 points. Again, Air Force's leading scorer.
And Walker's settling a little bit more for the three. I think he's more effective going to the rim and getting to that mid-range with that floater.
A left-handed floater. Air Force has lost 6 straight. They're trying to snap that streak. Wyoming trying to bounce back from the loss at New Mexico. Another foul on the floor against the Falcons. That foul's on Ethan Taylor, his first personal foul. That's 5 team fouls.
Quick double team on Maldo. Definitely going to try to get him to get that ball out of his hands.
Jeffries open and air. You don't see that too often from Drake Jeffries, the senior from Mattoon, Illinois. Again, first in the conference in three-point percentage, 9th in the nation. And he is just 1 for 3 tonight from downtown.
He was a bit surprised he was so wide open right there. He could have taken his time a little bit more, but you're not going to see that happen too much. You know, Drake Jeffries is a guy you want to see with an open look because he knocks that down nearly 50% of the time.
Jeffries was kind of part of our pre-production meeting today at Shoot-Around. He was talking about keys to the game with the broadcast team. Mormon, a three, a big three. Lucas Mormon.
I've said it before. If he can continue to hit that at a reasonable clip, it makes all of this Air Force offense so much harder to guard. It's tough action on the guards.
Wyoming 1 for their last 9 from the field. They haven't scored in just under 4 minutes. As we approach 1 minute remaining in the first half. Now just a 2-possession ball game. Highbreeder, beautiful move. Can't get it to roll down though. And Jeff Linder wants to talk things over with 51 seconds to go. Probably not the happiest guy right now as his team is trying to close out the first half.
Close out the first half, and Air Force is on a run right now. They have really found, they're really controlling the game on the offensive side. The Cowboys are having to guard for that full 30 seconds of the shot clock, and a lot of times they're getting an offensive rebound, and it's another 30 more. And I tell you, I think the teams who control the ball control the game, and it's been awfully difficult for the Cowboys to hold this lead against the Falcons.
Take a look at the defensive improvements for Air Force from last year to this year. Very, very noticeable. And again, Air Force is the 3rd youngest team in the country this year. 10 freshmen. Joe Scott in his 2nd stint at the academy. He's got work to do, but he's doing work also.
Yeah, and that was one of his keys to the game, is to watch this young team to get better the second go around defensively. He said, offensively, we know who we are, we know what we're going to do.
This will be a foul again. That basket won't count.
It's been awfully difficult for the Cowboys to hold this lead against the Falcons.
Take a look at the defensive improvements for Air Force from last year to this year. Very, very noticeable. And again, Air Force is the 3rd youngest team in the country this year. 10 freshmen. Joe Scott in his 2nd stint at the academy. He's got work to do, but he's doing work also.
Yeah, and that was one of his keys to the game, is to watch this young team to get better the second go around defensively. He said, offensively, we know who we are, we know what we're going to do. Defensively, we have to step it up the second go around against these Mountain West teams.
This will be a foul again. That basket won't count. The foul, I believe, will go against Taylor. That is his 2nd personal foul, and Jeffrey Mills will come in to grab him. They can't lose Taylor to 3 fouls in the first half, so he'll sit. 6 team fouls for Air Force. Maldonado, Ike, turnover. Wyoming's 4th of the day.
A quick double team came over there on the pass and just jarred that loose from Ike.
Does Air Force go for a 2-for-1, or I don't think so. They're slowing things down more. 10 on the shot clock. Three on the clock. Vanderswag has to fire away, and an air ball. Not a great offensive possession.
That time, Ike came up and contested that shot, caught him in the air. He was looking to make that pass or get that shot off, and Ike contested it.
8.5 seconds to go here in the first half. Maldonado with 5, heading to the rim. Can't score. Ike lost it out of bounds with 1.2 on the clock. Vanderswag with the heave. Left it short, and that's how this first half comes to a close. Air Force finishing on an 8-0 run. Wyoming 0 for their last 5. They hadn't scored in over 5 minutes. And they still hang on to a 4-point lead at the half, 30-26. So, again, Air Force has lost 6 straight games. And Wyoming trying to bounce back from that loss earlier this week at New Mexico. So we'll take a break. Be back with a great story on Wyoming's biggest fan, first half highlights and stats, and second half thoughts as well. Wyoming up 30-26 on the Mountain West Network. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Cowboys really need to find some additional scoring to go along with what Ike and Maldonado are doing.
Maldonado, 13 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 assists, 2 turnovers in 20 minutes. And he can pass the ball, that's for sure. First half stats. Air Force shooting 39% from the field, Wyoming at 48%. Second half. Well, first of all, if you're Joe Scott in Air Force, you're extremely happy right now, right?
Absolutely. Down 4 on the road against one of the best teams in the Mountain West, and your team is competitive. I think they walked into the second half, or going into the halftime, with the momentum.
All right, we'll catch up with Brian Burton coming up after the break. Stay with us here on the Mountain West Network. Air Force and Wyoming, the second half, coming up next.
Wyoming basketball on the Mountain West Network is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming, Rocky Mountain Ford Dealers, Union Wireless, Ridley's Family Markets, and Uniwile Credit Union.
The great voice of Kevin McKinney on the Cowboy Radio Network. Wyoming up 30-26 over Air Force. Second half just about to start in Laramie. Jacob Toby, Steve Gosar, Brian Burton on hand here in the AA. Again, Wyoming's biggest lead in this game was 13, but Air Force finished the first half on an 8-0 run. Wyoming was 1 of their last 10 from the field. They hadn't scored in over 5 minutes. Can they find their offense to start here? We'll find out.
It looked like the game of the Cowboys were going to blow the Falcons out, but boy, slowly but surely chipping away, Air Force got back into this game.
Ike, guarded by Mormon, was at a great game both offensively and defensively, but Ike wins the battle there.
I think Mormon is trying to compete and go toe-to-toe with Ike. I think he needs to try to drop that, fall, to get a charge on Ike, and also just to try to keep Ike from being so aggressive.
A.J. Walker, just 4 points for the Falcons' leading scorer in the first half, and he gets another lefty floater to go, his third of the game.
That's how he started the game, down in the post and going to his left hand. He's so efficient down there. I tell you, good ball player.
Back down to Ike. Ike with the fake and the flush.
Now, I think Mormon's got to be a little bit craftier about that. When there's contact, he goes down. Not as, it's just a back down. It's got to be a little bit more of a shoulder to the chest contact.
Wyoming with 2 buckets right out of the half. Mormon out of bounds off of Wyoming. Was a little bit too far under the hoop to try and put it in. Throw it down, perhaps.
In the first half on that replay right there, Air Force was coming with the double team a lot quicker. It was on the pass. There was no help for Mormon on that play against Graham Ike.
17 on the shot clock for Air Force. Ethan Taylor, talented freshman. Couldn't get it to go. Brian Burton on the sideline. What do you got for me?
Talking to Coach Linder out of halftime, he felt like defensively they did a pretty good job, minus giving up those extra opportunities. They gave up 5 offensive rebounds. He was unhappy with that. Offensively, he feels like they need to be more aggressive. They were up as much as 13 when they were aggressive. That was a big reason why, and you see him going straight to Ike to be aggressive to start the half.
Brian thanks Taylor at the line. Goes 1 for 2. Air Force 1 for 4 from the free throw line. And a foul on the floor against Walker for Air Force.
Maldonado showing that he's bringing back that aggressiveness, and I can completely agree, Coach Burton, that the Cowboys have, and Coach Linder, that the Cowboys really have to get that chip back on their shoulder this second half because they're playing into Air Force's hands.
Wenzel off on the 3, kept alive by Jeffries. And Wyoming will reset. Maldonado attacking and scoring. He's got 15.
That attacking the rim, keeping Air Force on their heels, I tell you, is what the Cowboys need to do to get this lead back up ahead.
Walker, the lefty, Aken, A.J. Walker. He's got 8 points.
Going to his left, that is really where he is most efficient on the dribble. And I really do think on that backside, Ike is such a presence down there, almost staying with that ball wouldn't be a bad idea, and letting those backside guards try to get a piece of Mormon on that block out.
Mormon fouling Ike on the floor. Brian Burton in the Air Force huddle now.
Yeah, Coach Joe Scott talked about his team being full strength for the first time in a long time. They've been on a stretch of some tough games, but they haven't had their full roster. They have their full roster tonight, and again, he kept emphasizing, proud of what we did in the first half. Let's keep fighting, keep hanging around till this game is over.
Thanks, Brian. Joseph Octave, again, missing the last 2 games. He's played well so far. 8 points for Air Force. Another foul on Mormon down low. As him and Ike battle it out, and Mormon has to go to the bench with 3 fouls.
3 fouls, 17 minutes on the clock. I think he is the best post defender and player that they have right now. And losing him is a big detriment to the Falcons.
5 turnovers for Wyoming now. Jeff Linder shaking his head over there on the sideline. Air Force within 5. Octave. High breeder. Taylor with 8.
I think the Cowboys will continue to live with that shot from Jackson. The guards, as long as Octave, as long as Taylor and Walker don't beat you.
Ike double teamed. Wenzel, Jeffries, saved by Maldonado. 10 on the shot clock. A little sloppy here for Wyoming the last couple of possessions. Maldonado. Ike gets it to go.
Not the typical end of the shot clock shot that you want, but Ike bails the Cowboys out with a nice short jumper.
Just looked over at a fan and she just put her hands up. Get the buckets however you can. Jackson blocked by Ike. And then a foul on Jackson, and Jeffries a little shove. I'm not sure he meant to. Brent Moe, the head referee, in there trying to make sure things don't get out of control. Wyoming up 7, just under 16 minutes to go in the second half. We're back in a moment. It's time to go inside the play, presented by Union Wireless. Former Cowboy Steve Gosar. What's going on in this play?
Well, right here, look where Graham Ike is sitting, all right? If you're going to play against Air Force, you are going to have to guard a lot of back cuts. You're going to have to go away from ball screens. When he's sitting down here, this is his man right here, Jackson, all right? And we can roll forward just a little bit. Jackson's going to catch this ball, all right, here at the high post level, all right? Right there in the high post. Ike's sitting off him. He's at 16 feet. Now, on this back cut right there, as he's going to the hoop, all right, when Ike's sitting back off of that play, that's a much harder pass to throw to a cutting guard, and Air Force throws it out of bounds. Ike has really affected their defense by sitting off of the 5-man.
Former Cowboy Steve Gosar, former coach as well, if I may say.
Well,
we got two former coaches on this staff. Brian Burton, 15-year college assistant coach. Steve Gosar, coach in the college and high school ranks.
This is the fun part, watching the X and O's of these two teams as they keep making adjustments every time they play, every half that they play against each other.
And then it's me, Jacob Toby, just a kid from Boston. All right, anyways. Walker is catching fire here. He's got 10 points. And now he's 5 of 10 from the field.
Second half guy. He hit 2 big threes against the Cowboys down in Colorado Springs, brought them back into this game. He is awake in the second half and making some good big plays for the Falcons.
Ike, count it. And he's pumped up.
Speaking of big plays, Ike answers right back.
I think Mormon going out with 3 fouls for Air Force is going to be really detrimental to their defense.
There's no question. He's a long 6'10". His length on his arms makes him even bigger. And I tell you, he was a shot-blocking presence. He was a bigger rebounding force inside. Losing him, you have to wonder if you're Coach Scott, when do you bring him back?
Ike can't hit the free throw. Was the Mountain West Player of the Week. Named on Valentine's Day. Lute Olson Award National Player of the Week this week. The accolades keep on coming for the Pokes, number 22 in the country at the moment. A lot of contact off the ball.
Jackson just threw Maldonado down inside the paint. That should have been a foul.
Walker couldn't scoop it home. Jackson was there on the offensive glass, and a foul against the Cowboys.
Well, the fans upset on that call right there. They missed the one inside with Maldonado and Jackson battling for position, and then a lighter foul is he's going to the rim.
Air Force with 20 on the shot clock, and then another foul down low. Maldonado chirping at head referee Brent Moe, and Moe scared him down a little bit after the chirp. It's gotten a little bit more chippy here.
It has, noticeably, since Jackson and Wenzel got kind of mixed up on that last play before the timeout.
Walker, no. Octave, no. Maldonado. And a blocking foul called against Air Force.
Jacob, I think this more competitiveness between these two teams, this friction, is good for the Cowboys. Get them a little bit more fired up.
Let's go down to Brian Burton. Brian?
Yeah, getting some observations from the Wyoming huddle. Coach Leonard talked about stringing together stops, putting multiple stops in a row and limiting Air Force to just one shot. Also, in addition, Noah Reynolds is able to play second half, had a slight ankle injury. He is good to go from here on out.
All right, thanks, Brian. And an offensive foul called against Ike as Jackson took the contact. And Jeff Linder's hot.
In the first game down in Colorado Springs, Jackson got 2 early fouls doing just this against Ike. That's something that Mormon's going to have to learn how to do a little bit better. But yes, that is a big foul, and he's guarding Ike well. It's going to make Ike a little bit more tentative.
What a block! But Jackson got the miss, and he scores. Count it. Air Force not going away in Laramie, and it's getting chippy. Double technicals on Taylor for Air Force, and I'm not sure who for Wyoming. It might be Ike, but I'm not 100% sure.
Looked like Jackson stepped into the Wyoming huddle, and the Cowboys just pushed him back out of there. And these two teams are really starting to get into each other's skin. It was
Octave, but then Taylor. So Octave and Ike, I believe, will get the fouls. A little chippy here in Laramie. Hopefully it doesn't escalate further. So Jackson to the free throw line. Ridley's Family Market, save time, shop online, now offering home delivery, the official grocery store of Wyoming Athletics.
I think they called that on Maldonado, his 3rd foul as well. Ike's out of the game with 3, now Maldo has 3.
Maldonado will stay in the game. And this is a 4-point ball game. Air Force pumped up on the sideline. Their whole bench is standing. Blocking foul against Hyde Breeder. We haven't got 30 seconds of clean action here in about 2-3 minutes.
The whole second half of that first game was just like this. Coach Scott is all the way out, almost out to half court. He's so mad about that call right there. But more importantly, the Cowboys are in the 1-1 right now.
The table's checking on something.
No. Yeah. You're good on the side.
With Brent Moe.
First on blue. Yeah, next one's going to be 2 on both teams.
Okay, it'll be a flop warning, which we have seen a lot of this college basketball season.
Well, the new rules in the post and how to defend, the post, but then also the requirements on the offensive player. Those, have changed this year, and it's taken a long time for the players to adjust.
You just saw Joe Scott there. You can understand why his team really wants this game. It's a young team. He was talking to us before the game. He said this game's really important for my young guys, 10 freshmen.
Not quite sure. We got 17 fouls right now. I'm not sure why we didn't shoot in the 1-on-1.
Not quite sure they call a foul. I think it was just the flop warning.
Oh.
And I think that's what it was. Yep. That's a foul. Anybody check their watch? Gonna be here a long time, second half. Slow pace.
For the first time, we've really started to see J.O. now, coming alive, and I think he needs to. Without Graham Ike in there in the second half of down at Air Force, the Cowboys went to a much smaller lineup, 4 guards and J.O. playing the 5, and it really was good for the Cowboys defensively against the Falcons.
Jeremiah Oden, sophomore from Chicago, a 74% free throw shooter. Knocks them both down. And an offensive foul against Air Force. Jackson.
You better watch it. He's just giving the referees just a little bit too much right now after that call.
Wenzel trying to fight through. Maldonado, strong take.
Bringing this crowd alive with that attack on the rim. Getting the Cowboys up by 8.
The double A on their feet. Highbreeder throwing it up, and a foul against Wyoming.
Hunter was in the right spot. It doesn't get any better than that. That's a strong finish. That's a tough shot to hit. On this back cut, Hunter Thompson's in the right spot. He's just got to hold it, get his hands straight up.
Jake Highbreeder, a freshman from Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, 76% free throw shooter. He's just 18 years old. His birthday's next month. Coach Scott calling him an Energizer Bunny. Knocks in both free throws. He's been quiet today, though, just 4 points.
And Air Force picking up full court, making it a little bit difficult, burning a little bit of time off the clock for the Cowboys.
Maldonado threw it up.
But a sense of urgency in Hunter Maldonado in the last 3 possessions is definite. You can see that that altercation with Air Force has really woken him up.
The University of Wyoming College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, epically innovated since 1886. Visit us at uyo.edu/CEAS. Yeah, great point, Steve. With Ike out with 3 fouls, Coach Linder has decided to keep Maldonado in with 3 fouls, and it's paid off.
Definitely has. He's really turned it on for the Cowboys and has gotten them more aggressive.
Can Wyoming get a stop? Mills, a 3, a big one. Jeffrey Mills, the freshman from Flower Mound, Texas, was 4 for 29 from downtown coming into this game today.
Nothing bigger than that 3-pointer right there. Coach Scott, before the game, compared him to A.J. Kuhn, another Falcon great. And I tell you what, that's a high level of expectation for that young man.
Hunter Thompson fouled on the floor for Wyoming. A big 3 by Mills.
J.O. just got caught on that screen, and I tell you, you just can't let up for 1 second against this Air Force offense, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to give up on a wide open, either a 3-ball or a back cut to the basket.
So Hunter Thompson can't hit the first free throw. He was 6 of 9 coming into this game today. The senior from Pine Bluffs, Wyoming. Played just 8 minutes at New Mexico, scored 3 points. He goes 1 for 2 from the charity stripe.
Just as you start to feel like the Cowboys are starting to pull away, the fans are getting back into it, Air Force is right back in it.
Great game in the Mountain West today. Glad you could join us here on the Mountain West Network. Taylor gets the screen from Mormon. He fires. Short. Oden the rebound.
I think the Cowboys got away with one right there. Taylor had an open 15-footer, just pulled it and left it a little bit short.
Wyoming 4 of their last 5 from the field.
Quick double team on Maldonado.
He drives. He missed it. Mormon the rebound. Taylor. Walker. No. Mormon, yes. Lucas Mormon has 9 points.
All things considered, I tell you, that young man has played a whale of a game today.
Maldonado, no. Second time, no. Mormon again on the glass. That's his 4th rebound. Joe Scott telling his team to slow things down, pull it out. Mormon. Oh, he's feeling it, and we're tied. Lucas Mormon.
You could see he was teeing that one up. Instead of being side sideways. He was squared to the basket, had his left foot down. He stepped right into that shot.
Maldonado backing down Highbreeder. And a foul on the floor. But Air Force has tied things up. Wyoming was up 13 in the first half. The Falcons are flying here in Laramie. Back here in Laramie, Jacob Toby, Steve Gosar, Brian Burton with you here on the call. A tied ball game between Wyoming and Air Force. Air Force has struggled against ranked opponents, 4-87 all time. Their last win versus a ranked opponent was back in 2013. They are 0-2 against ranked teams this year, both against Colorado State.
And they've been in a lot of games today, this year. We talked to Coach Scott before the game, and he talked about how this young team just needed to find one or two more possessions just to get over the hump. And, that shot right there by Mormon may be that one big possession that they were looking for.
So Maldonado is at the free throw line. That's the first. Maldonado on the season, a 72% free throw shooter. Puts them both down.
Tight games, free throws are so important, whether they're at the end of the game or at the 10-minute mark. So important.
Highbreeder in the post against Jeffries.
Great post defense by Jeffries. Stayed down and didn't give him an angle to score.
Seven on the shot clock.
I think you switched this ball screen right here.
Taylor left wide open. Couldn't knock it down.
Wenzel, what a huge tip. He couldn't get the rebound, but he tipped it to Ike. Big time play.
Down to Brian Burton. Brian?
Coach Scott in the Air Force huddle continued to urge his team to believe that they can win. If you have an opportunity to knock down a big shot, take it with confidence, whether they're guarding you closely or guarding you further away. We can make the plays we need to win this game, he told his team. Just keep believing. And on the other side, Wyoming head coach Jeff Linder urging his team to defend without fouling. Get stops, don't put them on the line for easy baskets.
Air Force can tie or take the lead with a three. Mills driving. Walker, the Falcons' leading scorer. Pull up. Way off. Too strong.
That surprised me right there. He had a good look at it, and I tell you, I think he anticipated Ike coming up, and he tried to get it off a little bit quicker.
Wenzel. Couldn't unload on the three. Under 9 minutes to go.
3 of 13 from the three-point line. I tell you what, the Cowboys can't buy a three-pointer right now.
Taylor up and under. Missed the layup. That would have tied it.
Typically don't see Air Force miss those chippies like that.
Mormon back down, guarding Ike. Ike! Blowing right by.
That spin move baseline just left Mormon in his tracks.
The crowd on its feet in Laramie once more. Jeff Linder raising his hands. Mormon on three. Oh, he put it down. His third. The freshman from Colorado Springs putting on a show.
No bigger than those 2 3-pointers. Oh my gosh, I tell you what. When the Falcons need a bucket, he stepped up big time this last couple minutes.
Maldonado tipping it out of bounds, or out of bounds off of Air Force, rather. Lucas Mormon averages 3 points a game. He's got 15, and his Falcons are down just 1. If you're just tuning in, you're tuning in to a good one here in Laramie. 50-49, Wyoming and Air Force from the Arena Auditorium. Let's take a look at the net rankings. Of course, Wyoming 22nd in the country ranked right now. And they've had some season 21-4, 10-2 in conference play. Again, 11-0 at home, 35 in the net ranking. Colorado State at 25. Boise, first place team at the moment in the Mountain West at 36. Boise has Utah State at home. Later today, Colorado State and UNLV will tip things off. Joe Lenardi, bracketology. As of today, Wyoming projected as a 7th seed.
I tell you, they've earned it so far. There is a lot of basketball to play. They're coming down to the stretch. You know, these last couple weeks and the tournament. We'll see how they can finish.
Ike, yes. He's gone at Mormon, and he's been successful.
Cowboys need some of those easy baskets right now from Ike.
A 3 for Air Force could tie it. And a turnover. 2-on-1. Maldonado. Foul. Count it.
Jacob, Hunter Maldonado. The Cowboys got caught on a switch and came from behind, stole that post feed down to Mormon, and took it down to the other end to get an and one.
Cookies for Hunter Maldonado. He's got 22 points. Game high, 8 of 16 from the field. And now 6 of 7 from the free throw line. 6 rebounds, 6 assists.
That was a big play for the Cowboys right here. Getting the crowd back in and getting a little bit more momentum.
Can the third youngest team in the country respond to that? Down 6. Mills. Walker with 6 on the shot clock.
Switch that.
Walker driving, left hand. Oh, he got it to go again. A.J. Walker has 12. The 4th shot with the left hand.
I think that's the 4th time he's gone to the rim with finished with his left hand high over the defense.
Wyoming hanging on to a 4-point lead as Air Force is trying to complete the upset. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is proud to sponsor the Freddy's Free Throw Freeze. If an opposing player misses 2 consecutive free throws after the 8-minute mark in the second half, head to Freddy's Laramie location anytime tomorrow for a free single topping sundae. Freddy's, the taste that brings you back. Jacob Toby along with former Cowboy Steve Gosar and 15-year college assistant coach Brian Burton roaming the sidelines. A great crowd on hand tonight, 8,312. The first 8,000-plus crowd Wyoming has had since 2016.
Jacob, as soon as this crowd starts to come to their feet and start getting into this game, it just seems like Air Force makes a big play on the offensive end and keeps this game down to a 1-possession game. Cowboys, huge play by Hunter Maldonado right there, you know what, to get the steal and the basket at the other end.
Wyoming is 3 of their last 3 from the field. Again, if you're just tuning in, story of this game, Wyoming had a 13-point first-half lead. Maldonado going to the rack again. A 6-point lead now for the Pokes.
When you need your big players to step up, Hunter Maldonado and Graham Ike have been very evident in the last couple of possessions.
Jeffrey Mills, high breeder. Walker. Mills. Back to Walker, 6 on the shot clock. Gets the screen. Walker, step back, stick it. A.J. Walker has 14 points, and he's come on here in the second half.
And a shot clock. They're coming back to that ball screen like they did in the second half down in Colorado Springs. Ike was just a little bit short on a great shooter. That 15-footer is too easy.
Down to Brian Burton. Brian?
Wyoming staff, out of the last 2 timeouts, was able to execute exactly what Jeff Linder drew up. They've been urging their team, we must get stops, stringing together 3 stops in a row for a kill to get separation.
Maldonado was fouled by Ethan Taylor, his 3rd personal foul. So back to the free throw line he goes. He's now 7 of 8. Again, Hunter Maldonado and Graham Ike, the nation's top scoring duo, 40 points per game.
Jacob, last couple times, I'm just thinking Hunter Maldonado is getting to the rim too easy. You know, I think Air Force has got to do a much better job of containing him off the dribble.
Take a look at this. Hunter Maldonado on the all-time scoring list was 41 points away coming into today from moving into top 10 in Wyoming history, chasing some of the Pokes greats. And he'll be in the top 10. How far can he get up the list is yet to be seen.
Well, I think as long as you can extend the postseason, that gives you a few more games. And the big question is, you know, with the COVID year, he really could come back for 1 more year.
It's time now for our Wyo Lotto play of the game. The steal for Maldonado, the N1.
Jacob, I tell you, such presence, such understanding of what was happening on that play. X was guarding Mormon in the post, giving up at least, 6-7 inches. And that was going to be an easy basket and an easy shot. Maldo comes from the backside, rips the ball out of his hand, goes down and finishes it, and gets an and one. Huge play for the Cowboys, but that's what you hope your captains and your seniors do. They step up when the moment's big, they bring big plays.
Maldonado was 5 assists away from passing Josh Adams for 6th in Wyoming history. He has 6 tonight, so he's done that. He was 17 away coming into this game from 6th. Dennis Dembo. All right, here we go. What does Air Force have in store?
Right back to Walker in the post.
Floater doesn't go. Mormon tried the offensive rebound. Ball goes out of bounds. It'll stay with the Falcons. Big call there.
Big call. Gosh, I tell you what, I saw him go to his right hand. I couldn't believe it. You know, he missed the right hand. He's been making all these tough shots with his left, and he just missed a bunny with his right.
Mormon traveled with it, yep. He thought about going and then had to pass off.
Just a bit of indecision right there and what he was going to do with that ball, and it cost him.
It's the 8th turnover from Air Force today. They averaged 13, 6th most in the Mountain West.
6 in the second half, though. They only finished the first half with 2, and that's why that game was so close. They're not going to beat themselves.
Maldonado with 8 on the shot clock. He gets the double. Wenzel, a deep 3. He's rimmed out once more. He's 0 for 3 from downtown today.
0 for 3, but those are still a little bit further back. That's past NBA line right there. You'd like to see them being a little bit closer. A much more makeable shot.
Air Force down 6.
Got a mismatch. X is on Wenzel, or Mormon in the...
7 on the shot clock. Walker fakes the 3. Offensive foul.
It's Mormon. They called him for they called Mormon for a moving screen right there. That's a big foul. Just got a piece of X, and just to knock him off his feet.
That's 4 personal fouls on Lucas Mormon.
Hey, that young man has grown up today. He has hit some huge shots.
Jeffries. No. Wenzel.
Wyoming's guards rebound on the offensive side as good as any guards in this Mountain West.
The cut from Highbreeder is good. Air Force not going away. Joe Scott's got to be careful. He's red hot.
just when you think the Cowboys are going to pull away, they get a little quick back cut and they make a layup.
We'll take a break. Air Force staying in this game, 61-55. We're back in a moment. It's that time of the year where you're thinking about Conference Player of the Year. Graham Ike at the top of the list. Second in rebounds, second in points. 53% from the field. Third in the Mountain West. Take a look at some of the other candidates. David Roddy right up there as well. And the funny thing is, we were talking in our pre-production meeting a couple days ago. Who do you pick, Ike or Maldonado, if Wyoming wins the league?
Well, like Coach Scott said before the game, you have to pick your poison. You know, if you double Ike, then Maldo goes off. If you double Maldo, then Ike goes off. You know what? You really have to pick your poison with those two. Both, you know, statistically, and what they've done for this Cowboy team could make a case for being Mountain West Player of the Year.
Under 4 minutes to go here in Laramie. 61-55 is our score. The Cowboys are 5 of the last 7 from the field. They were up 13 in the first half. It's been a close second half. Air Force has played some of its best basketball of the season. Cowboys swing it. Wenzel bumped on the floor and a big foul.
See, I think what Wenzel did there was really good. You've got Air Force doubling Maldo early to get the ball out of his hands, and a quick ball reversal. You've got the defense running at you. Instead of the three ball's not going down tonight. Put it on the deck, attack the rim, get to the foul line. You're getting to the foul line for 2 free throws every time you get fouled from here on out.
Wenzel has started the last 11 games for Wyoming after playing the first 14 off the bench. Jeff Linder has called him one of Wyoming's 3 most talented guys. He has struggled today, but he hits the free throw.
Big possession here. Cowboys push this up to an 8-point lead. If they can get a stop right here, this would be a huge, huge possession for their momentum.
Walker in the post. Walker, lefty, no. Taylor pressuring Maldonado. He's got to be careful. Maldonado to Ike. Mills guarding him. Ike scores. And Wyoming back up by 10.
They got Mormon playing off of Ike so he doesn't pick up that 5th foul. Got over there just a little bit too late to try to contest that shot.
8,000 plus on their feet. Walker a 3, short. And the Pokes with all the momentum.
Biggest point guard in the country right now, making some plays.
Wenzel maybe had a layup, decided to pull out. Jeff Linder screaming for Hunter Maldonado to come get the basketball. Ducell. That would have been a dagger. But the rebound also might be a dagger. Wasting some time here. Ike, up fake, bumped.
And that's number 5 for Mormon. I tell you, a really smart heads-up play by Ike. He knew he had the young fella on his, scrambling to catch up to him. Shot fake got him in the air and just waited for him to come down.
Got to tip your cap to the freshman Lucas Mormon, the freshman from Colorado Springs. Averages 3 points per game, put up 15 points, 6 rebounds, and did about all he could against Graham Ike down low.
Couldn't say it any better. Coach Scott said he was a kid, he was a recruit that they really have been looking for just to continue to keep developing. He's going to be one of those great Air Force players in this offense. I tell you, and I saw it today. I tell you, I see a lot of skill, a lot of talent. I'm looking forward to watching him get better as the years go by.
And the 3rd youngest team in the nation, the Air Force Academy, 10 freshmen. 40% of this team's scoring comes from their freshmen.
2 minutes, down 12. It's not really set up. They're not really set up for quick scores, but I think they got to start looking for some quick ones.
Under 2 to play. Taylor fouled on the floor. This game has had so many different feels to it. First half, Wyoming took control, and then Air Force ended up with a nice 8-0 run to close out the first half. Second half, a lot of fouls at the beginning. It was chippy. It's just gone back and forth here. It's kind of cleaned up the last few minutes, and Wyoming's just pulled away.
Really, there's only been a couple of possessions here or there that's, separated these two teams. But, Air Force has battled today. I see a lot of good things. I know why they're always in ball games. This is a well-coached team. These are really disciplined players. And I tell you, they made some big plays today.
Taylor made the first. He makes 2. 10-point game. Wyoming breaks the press. Maldonado thought about the 3. Ducell rims out. Ike fighting for it.
Great extra effort by the Cowboys. Graham Ike just battling down there.
Another foul against Air Force. The effort from Ike.
Tell you, he's adding to that resume, trying for that Mountain West, Conference Player of the Year, but you don't get effort like that, every day. He is such a warrior down there.
Maldonado with 27, Ike with 25. I count that 28, 29 now for Maldonado. Walker.
Great defense by Ike right there on that ball screen.
Jackson shut off by Maldonado. 5 in the shot clock. Jackson wiggles his way through and scores. And Joe Scott quickly says, I want a timeout.
Down 10, going to be picking up full court. Cowboys hopefully can break it a little bit easier than the last time down the court. I tell you, that full court ball pressure on them and is really taking the Cowboys out of their rhythm.
Wyoming has 5 games left in their conference schedule, 3 at home. The big one next Wednesday in Fort Collins against Colorado State. The Border War, round 2.
The first one was so good, Jacob. I could have watched another 40 minutes that night.
Overtime.
I tell you, 2 very good, well-coached ball clubs. Very talented players on both benches. That one was fun, and I can't wait to watch Wednesday night.
This is the bracket as it stands today. Boise State would be the #1 seed. They have 1 more win than Wyoming. So Boise State, Wyoming, Colorado State with byes. Who would be a dark horse in this conference, in your opinion?
Well, I'll tell you, New Mexico's is talented. Guards are, really have an impact in the game, especially in postseason. Yeah. And they've got 2 of the best guards off the dribble. I tell you, we saw what they could do against the Cowboys, the last game. But if they're hitting shots, it's super hard to guard those 2.
Jalen House, son of Eddie House, Arizona legend, and Jamal Mashburn, a transfer from Minnesota who followed Coach Pitino from Minnesota to New Mexico. See if they make some noise in Vegas.
And I tell you, the Mountain West, top to bottom, is as talented as I've ever seen it. I mean, there is so much parity in this league right now, and I tell you, there's so many good teams. We should be seeing these, 3, possibly even 4 teams in the NCAA tournament.
Long pass, Jeffries, the finishing touch.
I like how they broke the press.
Football pass. Jeffries had struggled today, just 2 of 6 from the field, 5 points. Octave can't get it to roll down. He was quiet in the second half after a good first half. Highbreeder, no. And Wyoming can dribble it out, but an offensive foul against Maldonado. And on the rip through.
Oh my gosh, that'll get the crowd back into it for sure.
The way this game was going at the start of the second half, you thought it would continue. It really didn't until now. All right.
I don't see it.
Highbreeder for 2. He's got 8 points.
They have a very nice freshman class of recruits. I tell you, very heady ball players, very skilled. This team's going to be really good in a couple of years.
And we haven't. Well, take a look at the Jeffries full court. Of course, Maldonado whizzing that thing like a quarterback. He's got 8 assists. Look at zoom. You know, David Roddy of Colorado State was a former quarterback. Maldonado saying, "Hey, I can throw a long deep ball."
I think Josh Allen would have probably thrown it over his other shoulder so he didn't have to turn, but hey, we'll take it. What a great pass full length for an easy basket.
Jeffries, an 81% free throw. What a great shot there.
Says it all right there. I tell you, chemistry. These guys play for each other. It's easy to see, and that's why they find ways to win. Somebody every night steps up and hits big shots.
Taylor, and that one goes down. 9-point game with 14 seconds to go. Crazier things have happened. A foul on Jackson, who has not been a fan favorite today in Laramie. That's his 5th foul, though. No, he's done.
And, you know, to his credit, I tell you what, Jackson made some big plays. I said, you know, defensively, you know, and got a little bit of fire, you know, going for the Falcons there and kept this game close. And, you know, the Cowboys just found some big ways, you know, big plays when they needed it.
EK now with 26 points. How about this? 11 of 11 from the field. All right.
Didn't get any better than that.
12 boards. A monster game.
Tell you, this young man is in here 6 o'clock in the morning most days of the week, working on his foul shooting, working on his game. And I tell you, it's easy to see how much better he's got.
Highbreeder a 3. 2 quick threes from Air Force. Ducell up to Jeffries. And that will do it. Wyoming, the 22nd ranked team in all the land, gets their 22nd win of the season, 11 in conference play.
Jacob, in spite of shooting 3 of 17 from the three-point line, the Cowboys win comfortably, but I think the score is not indicative of how hard-fought that game was.
Jeff Linder continues to put this team on the map. 12-0 at home now are the Pokes. Air Force drops to 11-15, 3-11 in conference play, but you can see the talent on Joe Scott's team. And we want to thank everyone from the Air Force Academy for their sacrifice and service. Those guys do a tremendous job.
Tough game. I tell you, they played well. They hit big baskets. They got good stops. I think Coach Scott walked out of here hoping, you know, didn't get the win, but I think he got what he was hoping for. He saw his Falcons grow up a bit, get better defensively, and this game was a close game all the way down to the wire.
Let's go down to Brian Burton, who's with Wyoming head coach Jeff Linder.
Coach, congrats on the win. You talked about how hard it is to win in February. It's never easy in the Mountain West. Talk about this win today.
No, it's never easy, and these are the dog days. And after a tough loss against New Mexico, for our guys to bounce back. Sometimes, especially when you haven't lost, very many games like we have, our guys were a little shocked a little bit, and thankfully we had 2 good days of practice, and for them to come out and just make a lot of winning plays in the second half, that was a difference.
Yeah, talk about those winning plays in the second half. Air Force gave as hard of a fight as they have all year on the road. What did you think about how your team responded?
Well, Air Force, they're a tough guard, and we knew that we were going to have our hands full. They were up in the second half against San Diego State, but I thought in terms of just offensively settling in, getting the ball to the paint, EK and Maldo did the rest.
Henry Dolan, Cowboy toughness. You talked about it. You went there to see him. He rang the bell. Talk about what that means to this team and what they represented here again tonight.
Yeah, no, that's where I think Henry's here. Hopefully he's in the locker room waiting for us. But, that's what this team is. We represent the state of Wyoming. You got to be tough to live in Wyoming. And, we want to make the state of Wyoming proud.
Absolutely. You did tonight and you did all year, Coach. Congrats.
Brian, thank you very much. Brian Burton with the hoodie and the jacket. Nicely done. Coach Linder with some great comments there. 75
we got
to
Maldo
67,
too when you're ready.
The final. And back to Brian with the man of the hour, Hunter Maldonado.
Talk about his team. We can talk about all the wins, only 4 losses. What did it mean to win here as the 22nd ranked team in the country at home in front of your fans tonight?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we got to say thank you to all the fans that came out, all the students that came out to support us. Obviously, it means a lot to us. So thank you to all of them. And like you said, I think it's huge to come in here, be a good Air Force team. They're super disciplined. You got to do your habits every possession or they'll score on you. So it's huge for us.
Your performances against Air Force are some of your better ones all year. What is it about playing against this team from your hometown? Every time you play them, you play some of your best basketball.
I think, like you said, it's just I grew up watching them, so whenever I play them, it's always fun for me. Probably a little more relaxed, but like you said, it's always fun.
No doubt about it. Talk about this team. You guys are one of the best teams in the country, top 25 in the AP poll for the first time in a long time. What does it mean again to just be able to get another win and get back going?
I think it just shows how hard we work all summer. If we stick to our habits, continue to get better each and every day, I think a lot of teams quit during this time of the year. They realize they don't have a chance. And for us to be able to play for something is huge. And we just got to continue to do our habits, continue to get better every single day.
Awesome job, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Go celebrate with your team.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Brian, again, with the hoodie. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Good to hear from both Hunter Maldonado and Jeff Linder. Final stats, what stands out to you?
Well, I'll tell you, maybe not so much that shows up on the stat line, but the question answered.
Yeah.
Cowboys did not let New Mexico beat them twice. It didn't carry it over into 2 losses. They found ways. They looked like the Cowboys with a chip on their shoulders and found ways to make baskets and key plays, defensive stops when they needed them. And, they took it through their 2 big guns, Hunter Maldonado and Graham Ike.
It's fun tonight, Steve. Let's do it again soon. For more live Wyoming athletic broadcasts, features, and information, visit GoWyo.com. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Mountain West Network for my broadcast partners, Brian Burton and Steve Gosar, saying good afternoon from Laramie, Wyoming. The final score, 75 to 67. The Pokes win it at home. Have a great day, everybody.
Good.